Honor is a ghost. It is an intangible thing, a whisper from our ancestors, a code that binds us to a higher purpose. But what happens when that code demands the impossible? What happens when honor demands that you become a ghost yourself, to abandon your family, to live as a disgrace, to sacrifice everything you are, for a single moment of perfect, terrible justice? In the heart of feudal Japan, under the rigid rule of the Shogun, such a moment occurred. It is the story of 47 men who were stripped of their master, their purpose, and their place in the world, and how, in the face of absolute dishonor, they orchestrated the most famous and celebrated act of revenge in Japanese history. This is not just a story of swords and blood. It is a deep, unsettling journey into the soul of the samurai, a testament to a loyalty that transcends life itself. This is the true story of the 47 Ronin. Our story begins in the year 1701, in the magnificent Edo castle, the center of power for the Tokugawa shogunate. It was a world of rigid ceremony, of unspoken rules, and of deadly political intrigue. A young and idealistic lord, Asano Naganori, the daimyo of the Ako domain, was given a prestigious but perilous duty to receive envoys from the imperial court in Kyoto. Being a man of the provinces, he was unfamiliar with the complex etiquette of the shogun's court. He was placed under the tutelage of a powerful and arrogant official, Kira Yoshinaka, the master of ceremonies. Lord Kira expected a substantial bribe from Asano for his instruction, a common if unspoken practice. But Asano, a strict follower of the moral code of Bushido, saw this as a form of corruption and refused. Kira was deeply insulted. For weeks he publicly humiliated Asano, mocking his provincial manners and treating him like a fool. The tension built day by day in the silent, paper-walled corridors of the palace. The breaking point came in the great corridor of pines. After a final, cutting insult from Kira, something inside Lord Asano snapped. In a place where the drawing of a weapon was a capital offense, Asano drew his short sword, his wakizashi, and lunged at Kira. He slashed him, wounding him in the face and shoulder before they were pulled apart. The crime was not the attack itself, but where it had occurred. Asano had defiled the sacred space of the shogun's palace. The punishment was swift and absolute. That very same day, Lord Asano was ordered to commit seppuku, ritual suicide. He obeyed. He knelt on a white cloth, composed a death poem, and plunged the blade into his own abdomen. With his death, his domain of Ako was confiscated by the shogun. His family was exiled, and his 300 loyal samurai, by the law of the land, were now masterless warriors. They were Ronin. In the eyes of the world, their honor was dead. Their purpose was gone. For the samurai of Ako, this was a fate worse than death. Their lord had been provoked into a crime and forced to die, while the man who had insulted him, Lord Kira, faced no punishment at all. This was a deep injustice, a stain on their collective honor. Their leader, the chamberlain of the castle, a wise and respected samurai named Oishi Kuranasuke, gathered the men. They swore a secret blood oath to avenge their master and restore his honor, no matter the cost. But they knew it would not be easy. The shogunate, fearing a revenge plot, had placed Lord Kira under heavy guard and was actively spying on the former samurai of Ako. A direct attack was impossible. They needed a plan. They needed to become ghosts. Oishi ordered the Ronin to disperse. They were to melt into society, to take up menial jobs as carpenters, merchants, and even beggars. They were to show the world that they had accepted their fate, that their warrior spirit was broken. They had to lull their enemy and the government into a false sense of security. The most difficult role fell to Oishi himself, to convince everyone that he had no intention of revenge. He had to destroy his own reputation. He moved to the geisha districts of Kyoto and began a new life of debauchery. He spent his days in brothels and his nights in drunken stupors. He divorced his loyal wife and sent his family away. He became a pathetic spectacle, a disgrace to the samurai class. The spies from the shogunate watched him, at first with suspicion, then with contempt. One day, a man from Satsuma, another domain, saw Oishi passed out drunk in the street, a pathetic, snoring heap. The Satsuma man kicked him in the face and spat on him, disgusted by the sight of a once proud samurai who had so thoroughly abandoned his honor. This was Oishi's greatest performance. The news of his disgrace spread all the way to Lord Kira, who finally relaxed his guard, convinced that the spineless samurai of Akko posed no threat. For over a year, the 47 Ronin endured this humiliation. They were ghosts, waiting patiently, their true purpose hidden behind a mask of dishonor. Then, in the deep winter of 1703, the time came. The 47 Ronin, now disguised as firemen and workmen, secretly gathered in Edo, the city where Lord Kira lived. They had meticulously studied the layout of his mansion, using secret maps obtained by one of their number, who had married the daughter of the man who built the house. They were divided into two groups, one to attack the front gate, one to attack the back. On a snowy night, under the cover of a blizzard, they began their final silent march. The attack was a masterpiece of military precision. They used a battering ram to smash the front gate, while the other group scaled the back wall. They moved through the mansion with a deadly purpose, killing Kira's guards. They had given their men strict orders to kill Lord Kira and his men, but to spare all women, children, and servants. This was not a massacre. It was a targeted execution. A young Ronin beat a war drum, its thunderous rhythm signaling the start of the assault and adding to the chaos and terror within the mansion. The Ronin fought their way through the house, searching for one man. They finally found Lord Kira, hiding in a storage shed, surrounded by his last few bodyguards. They offered him the chance to die with honor, to commit seppuku with the same blade that had killed their master, Lord Asano. Kira, trembling with fear, refused. And so, Oishi Kuranasuke, the man who had pretended to be a drunkard for over a year, knelt before his enemy, and with a single, clean cut from Asano's wakizashi, took his head. The debt of honor was paid. They extinguished all the fires in the mansion to prevent a blaze from spreading to the neighbors. And then, as the dawn began to break, they began their final march. They carried the head of Lord Kira through the streets of Edo, a gruesome trophy. Their destination was the Sengakuji Temple, the place where their master, Lord Asano, was buried. They washed Kira's head in a well, and then, one by one, the 47 Ronin knelt before their master's grave and presented the head as an offering. They had fulfilled their oath. The news of their attack electrified Japan. The common people hailed the Ronin as heroes, as the ultimate embodiment of samurai loyalty and honor. But for the shogunate, it was a crisis. The Ronin were heroes, yes, but they were also criminals. They had defied the Shogun's authority and carried out a private act of vengeance. The Shogun was trapped. If he punished them, he would anger the populace. If he pardoned them, he would undermine his own laws. After weeks of debate, a decision was reached. The Ronin would be allowed to die with honor. They were not to be executed as common criminals. They were sentenced to commit seppuku. One by one, the 46 surviving Ronin, one had been sent as a messenger, knelt and took their own lives. They were buried in the Sengakuji temple, their graves laid out in a silent, eternal guard around the tomb of the master they had served so faithfully in life, and the story of the 47 Ronin has become the national epic of Japan, a timeless tale of loyalty, sacrifice, and the unyielding demands of honor. It is a story that asks a profound question. What is the line between justice and revenge? Between law and honor? The men of Akko were condemned by the law, but they were immortalized by the people. Their story is a powerful and tragic reminder that the most powerful codes are not the ones written in law books, but the ones written on the human heart. And their 47 graves, still standing today in a quiet temple in Tokyo, remain a silent testament to a loyalty so absolute it was worth dying for.